Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be testing out some new products that I actually picked up at the Sephora sale. So I want to go ahead and use those today, do a wear test, and kind of see how these products are working throughout the day. Also, I'm going to be using some products that I normally use on a daily. So I will let you guys know which ones are new, and then you guys will see some of my regulars. Let's go ahead and get started. It's about 9:15 a.m. I'm going to try to check in like around, I don't know, I think I'm going to try to check in around 2:30. I do have to go to work today, so I'm not going to be able to check in the evening. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started really quickly. So I've got like 3 primers that I'm going to use today because I want to test them out. One of them is the Instant Matte Pore Refiner. This is actually a new product, and I want to go ahead and use that on my pores today. I'm only going to use it like on one side of my face, and I will be using my Stellar Instant Matte Primer on the other side of my face in my T-zone. So these are only going to be used in the T-zone area, and I'm going to start with that first. I've already prepped my skin for the day, put my sunblock on, all that good stuff. So I'm only going to take just a little bit. This product is a little runny. It's not as thick as I thought it would be. That's the amount I'm actually going to use for the right side of my face. Kind of tap it in there. This is where my pores are, and just up here. I usually put some up here. Not that I have a lot of pores up here, but I guess it's just a habit. But really, my problem area is usually right here by the side of my nose. And just by looking at it, I don't see that it looks like blurring like my Stellar primer, but we'll see how the foundation actually goes on it today. So I know I said I had 3 new primers, but I only have 2 new primers. So the second primer that I have that's new is the Becca Skin Love Brightening and Blur Primer. It's just a little sample that I got from Sephora, but I want to go ahead and use this one today. So I'm going to go ahead and put this Becca primer on the perimeter of the right side of my face. This is the consistency here. Both primers have light scents to them, but they're not overwhelming. They smell really pretty, to be honest. It feels really good going on. It looked kind of silicone-y when I first put it on my fingers, but it feels really good going on, and it doesn't feel like slippery. It reminds me of the Cover FX Gripping Primer. It has that tacky feeling to it. I don't see any like brightening effect. I do see that it's kind of blurring. There's really no brightening effect to it at this point. I'm going to go ahead and place my regular primers on, and then we'll get started with everything else. Okay, so I put on my regular primers on this side. I was going to mention that if you look at my right side of the face where I put the Becca primer, it does look glowy. So I think that maybe when they say brightening, that it might be the fact that it gives like this slight glow to the skin. Yeah, it looks really pretty on the skin. I still smell the fragrance from the Becca primer, but it smells very nice and light and like a more refreshing scent. It kind of smells like floral. So that scent really doesn't bother me. If you're sensitive to scents, then you might not like the Becca primer. But either way, we'll see if after I put the foundation, whether the scent goes away or whether it kind of lingers. Let's go ahead and get into the next products. So for foundation, I'm going to be using the Makeup Forever Matte Velvet Skin Foundation. They have a really good range of shades in this powder, but I went ahead and went with Y365. Now this shade might be a little bit dark for me, but I think that as the summer months come and I start getting a little more tan, that it's actually gonna match perfectly. So here's what the shade looks like. Comes with this little sponge here, and it also comes with a mirror. So what the directions say is if you want more of a full coverage foundation, you're gonna use the dark side of the sponge, and if you want a lighter coverage, you're gonna use the light side of the sponge. We are going to use this sponge today because it comes with the product, and I just want to see how it actually performs with this sponge. And if it looks like it's not doing what I want it to do, then I'll go ahead and either use my Wet n Wild sponge or use a brush. So let's go ahead and just get started with this first. And if you guys have been watching my channel, you guys know that I like a full coverage foundation. So I'm going to go in with the dark side first. So I'm just patting it into the product. And I have product there, and then I'm just going to kind of pat it into the skin. I'm gonna bring you guys a little closer so you can see. So I took a little bit more. I'm gonna pat that all into the skin. Just kind of press it in there. Wow, that gave pretty good coverage. To me, it's like a little more difficult to work with something so thin. I feel like I don't have a lot of control. I feel like I'm not getting enough product. I feel like I'm not really having much control with like this flat sponge. But so far, it's not doing a bad job of placing that powder onto my skin. It looks pretty. It looks really smooth. And I think the shade is not as dark as I thought it was gonna be. I think it looks pretty good. I am gonna bring it down onto my neck, just kind of rub it down. I think what I'm gonna do is go ahead and use my Wet n Wild sponge and kind of dab it into the powder. I hope I don't ruin it because I am gonna wet this a little bit. But if it gets crazy, then I'll try to actually go in with a brush as well. I do have a brush here that I can use to kind of like powder it onto my skin just to see how it works with the brush. So let's start with the Wet n Wild sponge. I'm gonna go wet it, so I'll be right back. Okay, so my sponge is a little dirty on the bottom side. What I'm gonna do is use this back side here, and I'm gonna go into the product, pick some up, and then I'm going to press that. So far, it doesn't look bad. It actually gives a lot more coverage with this sponge as opposed to the sponge it comes with. It gives way more coverage. And it's so pretty. Look how soft it looks. It's not picking up too much product where it's gonna look cakey. And it does not look cakey at all. Oh my gosh, this looks so pretty. Oh my gosh, it looks like airbrushed. Can you guys see? Look how smooth it looks. Super, super pretty. Okay, I think this is a good amount of coverage for me at this point. Just putting it on just for the first time, it does not look cakey. It just looks really flawless and just really beautiful, and I'm just really impressed with it right now. So it does say the formula contains the latest generation Flexi Fit Puzzle Complex, which adapts to the movements of the skin while also letting it breathe. Your complexion is left looking velvety and natural, never chalky. This foundation is also water resistant for a long-lasting matte look. That's pretty good. And you know what? I really think that the claim about your skin looking velvety is completely true, because that's how I feel my skin looks right now. Let me go ahead and go in with concealer. I am gonna go in with my Yves Saint Laurent color corrector. I've been loving this. I'm just gonna stick that on my under eyes. I did not put a hydrating primer today. I didn't bring one down here, so it's okay. I'm just gonna go ahead and go in with this. So I'm gonna go on top of this concealer with the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in Natural Beige. I've been using this concealer quite a bit here lately, guys. So to add a little bit more coverage, I'm gonna go in with my Tarte Tan Shape Tape Concealer. This is where the real test comes through, guys. This is more of a powder foundation, so we're gonna see if a cream product will blend in well with this foundation. I'm crossing my fingers. I'm hoping that's gonna work because I have to wear this foundation all day, so I don't want it to look crazy. So let me go ahead and do like I normally do with any other foundation, and then put just a tad bit on those areas where I feel like I need more coverage. And I'm gonna use that Wet n Wild sponge. Okay, all right. This better last all day because the cream product went into that foundation beautifully. It didn't move the foundation. It didn't like mess up the foundation. It just laid on that foundation flawlessly. I mean, look at it. It didn't even move. I cannot believe this. It looks so good. All right, so I'm really loving this foundation. I'm gonna go ahead and pull you back a little bit because you guys are like way up here. I'm gonna go ahead and set my under eyes. I'm gonna do my eyebrows, and then I'm gonna pull you back and do the rest of my face. All right, so the next product I'm gonna go into is this Bare Minerals Bare Pro Glow Bronzer. So it looks like this. I actually just filmed a video using some new Bare Mineral products and I forgot to use this Bronze Glow, so I want to go ahead and use this today. I'm going to just shake it up and put it on the back of my hand. As you can see, it's very watery, but I'm going to go ahead and place that right here onto my cheekbones. Not my cheekbones. I'm going to place it right under my cheekbones just to give that like sun-kissed glow. I'm just using my Wet n Wild sponge. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of dab that in there. Now, because the concealer works so well with this foundation, I think that this is going to be just fine as well. I can tell right now it's blending in beautifully. Now, this is just a bronzer, so I'm just kind of putting it just right here in this area. I am not doing any like contour or anything. I'm just using it like a normal bronzer that I would use on a daily. And this bronzer is beautiful. I'll put a little bit on my forehead, give my forehead a little bit of that glow and bronze effect. Oh my gosh, I can't get over this foundation, guys. Please work for me today. It's like one of the easiest foundations to apply. It blended in so well that you just can't mess it up. But I like it with the Wet n Wild sponge. I do like it with that more than I like it with the sponge it came with. I think that'll work. So I am going to go over this bronzer with the Marc Jacobs Omega Bronze Coconut Perfect Tan in Tantalize. I have purchased this bronzer before, but it was a different shade. It was the Tantastic shade, which is a lot lighter than this shade. And I'm not sure if this shade is new to the line or if it's been out before. That I'm not really sure. I just know that they came out with these again, and I saw this shade, so I went ahead and purchased it. Now, the one that I had that was called Tantastic, I actually gave that to my oldest daughter because she is more fair skinned than I am. It looked really beautiful on her and I really liked the bronzer. It just wasn't a bronzer that I picked up as often as I wanted to, but it was still a beautiful bronzer. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one today. This is the shade here. It is a bit darker than the Tantastic. So I'm going to use it with this Sonia Kashuk brush today, and I'm just going to press that into the product and then go into the skin. Yeah, see, this one is way, way darker. Now, I don't know, gosh, I don't know if this is new. I'm gonna look into this, guys, because I'm not sure if it's new or not. It is a beautiful, beautiful bronzer. Now, this one, I'll probably pick up way more than I did the last one, for sure. And it's got like a little glow to it. And I know it looks like really heavy on camera, but it doesn't look as bad when I'm looking at it in the mirror. But I'm gonna go over it with this Stellar powder, just lightly over it. I'm not gonna go in too much because I don't want to, you know, mess with the foundation. I wanna see how the foundation holds up with the powders and the blushes and the highlighters and all that good stuff. I'm not lightening up too much. I'm barely putting any on, but I know it looks heavy, but it's not. I promise it's not. All right, so for blush, I have used this blush before. I just did a video on this blush, so I'm not gonna go too much into it, but it's the Buxom Wanderlust Seychelles blush. And it's very pigmented, so I'm not putting too much on. Let me go ahead and get a liner. I'm gonna use it with one of these lip glosses from Hourglass. So let me go get the liner and I'll be right back. So I brought down the Bobbi Brown lip liner in Cocoa. I love this liner, so I'm gonna use that. But before we get into lips, I wanna go ahead and use this Pixi by Petra highlighter, and it's in the shade Delicate Dew. I'm gonna use this today because I purchased this at Target not too long ago and I have not opened it or used it. And I've heard so many things about it, but here are the shades here, and here's a little bit more close up of these shades. Really beautiful shades. I heard this was really creamy and it looks really nice on the skin. I'm just gonna go in with this Real Techniques brush. There's more of a lighter shade and then a darker shade. So what I'm gonna go into is this lighter shade here first, just to see how that goes. And that looks really nice. And I'm gonna go on top of it with the darker shade, or just right below it. Wow, that's pretty. I like it. I really do like it, guys. I just feel like it looks a little bit white on me, but I will try it again with something else. But just for today, it is new, so I wanted to try it. I don't know, it just doesn't really have much color. It just looks like a kind of like pearl white on me. So anyway, it is pretty. It went on really nicely, and I'm gonna keep it on today, so we'll just see how it goes. Okay, so for lips, I'm gonna go in with these Hourglass Unreal High Shine Volumizing lip glosses, and I have the shade Child and Provoke. So let me open these for you. I'm gonna swatch both of them on the back of my hand, and then I'm gonna decide which one to wear. So here's Provoke. Isn't that pretty? And this one is Child right here. So here's the packaging too. Look how pretty it is. But yeah, that's Child right there. So I think Child is more of a peachy color and Provoke is more of like a light mauve. So I'm gonna go in with Provoke today, and I'm gonna line my lips. And look at the applicator tip. It's kind of like thick and flat. It has like a minty smell to it. That's so pretty. It has really good pigmentation too, guys. It doesn't have that stinging sensation. Wow, looks really pretty on the lips. But yeah, this Provoke is just really pretty, and it goes really good with that Bobbi Brown Cocoa liner. Okay guys, so I'm gonna be wearing this throughout the day. I didn't put on any eye makeup because I am going to film an eye tutorial here in a minute using a new palette that I had purchased, and it's part of a collection. So anyway, I will be checking in at least one time today, letting you guys know how all the makeup held up, how the foundation wore, and all that good stuff. So I will see you guys in a bit. Bye. Hey guys, I am doing my only check-in for the day to let you guys know how this makeup is holding up. I'm just gonna go over the new products and tell you guys how they're working and what they're looking like on my skin. So let's start off with the first product that I do want to mention because I'm so excited. It looks so super nice. It's been about 5 hours. I put this makeup on about 9:15. And it's almost 2:15. I'm like 5 minutes away from 2:15. So it's been about 5 hours since I've had this makeup on, and just looking at the makeup, it has not changed. It looks so beautiful. I cannot believe how gorgeous this makeup looks. I haven't used powder foundations in I don't know how long. I think the last powder foundation that I really truly loved was years and years ago, and it was by Shiseido, and I cannot remember what the name of it was. They probably don't carry it anymore because it's been that long. I think it was when I was in college that I was using that powder foundation. It was kind of like a powder foundation that turned into a cream, or it's set like a cream. But either way, this has got to be my favorite powder foundation so far. It is so beautiful. Like I said, it's been like 5 hours, and I'm looking at it in the mirror, and I'm so impressed with it. The makeup has held on so well with this foundation. Everything applied, whether it was cream or powder, everything applied so well. It just blended in well. It sunk into the skin. The foundation didn't move. It doesn't look dry. It doesn't look cakey. But just to let you guys know, I know I'm probably getting ahead of the game because I'm saying how much I love it, but I just can't help it. It looks so good. But just to let you guys know, I will be wearing it the rest of the day, and I'm going to work, so I will be wearing it for another few hours, and I will put in the description box below whether it lasted the rest of the time that I was wearing it. I know a lot of people don't just wear foundation for 5 hours. They wear foundation for like an average work day, 8 to 9 hours. So wearing it for 5 hours, it still looks great, but it doesn't really mean much until I can wear it a little bit longer and see what type of longevity this foundation has. So far, so good. Love it. I'm impressed. I do want to mention the little sponge here. I didn't like the sponge for the application. I actually took my Wet n Wild beauty sponge and I used this to apply it, and it was damp, and it went on beautifully with this sponge. It gave more coverage with the Wet n Wild sponge than it did with its original sponge. But I will say that I will be using this just for touch-ups. So yeah, I'm gonna be keeping the small sponge just for that purpose. The Tantalize Omega Bronzer, it stayed on. As you can see, it's very pigmented. I think next time I really need to go in with a lighter hand. Earlier, it didn't look so dark, but right now it looks really dark to me. I don't know why. Maybe because I added the blush and then I put the highlighter. I don't know why it looks like that, but I still love this shade of bronzer more than I love the Tantastic. So I will be keeping this. I'm just gonna have to go in a little bit more light-handed. It'll be easier for me to work with it. So that's not a big deal. I will be keeping this. I do love this, and it has stayed on the foundation beautifully. So for the YSL Pore Refiner, I'm looking at my pores on this side, and I'm looking at my pores on this side, and this side where this YSL Pore Refiner is, it does look like my pores are a little bit more accentuated on this side. You can see them a lot more than on the side that I use the Stellar, which is kind of crazy because this is like a pore refiner and the Stellar is just a matte blur primer. It's not a pore refiner or anything like that, but I use it on my pores because it blurs them so well. So just by wearing it for this amount of time, I don't see a reason to keep this because it really didn't change the way my pores look. So yeah, this is gonna go back. The Becca Skin Love Brightening and Blur Primer. To me, this is a really good primer. I have it all over the perimeter of my face. It's kept my foundation on really well. I don't know that I'm gonna purchase it yet because I have so many other primers that I'm trying to get through, but it is a good primer. If I got another sample of this at Sephora, I'd actually take it because it is a really good primer. It's very light on the skin. It doesn't have like any kind of brightening properties, but it is glowy. So it's not super glowy, but it does give a slight glow to the skin when you put it on. My foundation went on really well on top of it and everything looks really good on this side. So yeah, it's a good primer. If you're looking for something a little bit lighter and has a little bit of glow to it, this is probably gonna be a really good primer to pick. I will say that there is a fragrance to this primer. Like right now I can't smell it, so it's not really strong. It's one of those primers that once you put it on, you can smell it, but then it'll go away as time goes on, and yeah, you won't smell it later in the day. So for the Bare Minerals Bare Pro Glow Bronzer, this liquid bronzer is so pretty on the skin. I love it. I love the way it blends into the skin. I love the way that it blended into the foundation, and the color is perfect. It's like a sun-kissed shade. It's just really pretty and warm. So yeah, I really like this. It's a great bronzer for the summer months to come because it is a liquid bronzer and it's not gonna fade or anything like that. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. It's that good. For the Pixi by Petra highlighter, I think it is a beautiful highlighter. This one is in the shade Delicate Dew. I just don't think it's a highlighter for me. I'm looking at it and it's like really white. I don't know, it just looks really like pearl white. I think this would be beautiful on light to light medium skin tones. I just feel like it looks just like a white line here. I don't think that this is the right shade for me. The other new item that I used were these Hourglass lip glosses. They just came out with these. I don't know how many shades they've come out with, but every shade that I saw at Sephora looked really beautiful. But the shades that I got, I really love. I really like the one that I tried on today. I did change my lip gloss and my lipstick, but earlier I did put this one on in the video and I really loved it. It has really good pigmentation. They go on really smooth. They're not sticky, you know, they're not goopy or anything like that. So I really do like these. I think that I'm gonna pick up a couple more. I saw some other shades that I like. So yeah, I might pick up a couple more when that next sale comes. But for now, I'm gonna enjoy using both of these. So on my eyes, I did my eyes off camera, but I'm filming a video using a palette from a collection that I just purchased. So that will be coming out soon, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, thank you guys so much for being here. I hope you enjoyed this video. So yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.